नमः पार्वती पतये गोविंद नाम संकीर्तनम्
अपार करुणा सिंधुम ज्ञानदम शांत रूपिणम श्री चंद्रशेखर गुरुम प्रणमामि मुदान्वहम्। जय जय शंकर, हर हर शंकर।
Yeah, just a minute. So, namaste children, namaste parents. Very glad to see you all here again. You're all neatly dressed and okay. Before going to we are seeing the Acharya Parampara, lineage of Kanchi Kamakoti Peetham, isn't it? So, we will start with the invocation. We'll start with the prayer before going to. Now, we are going to see how much Acharyas we have seen so far. Anybody has an idea?
70.
Yeah, 70. There are 70 Acharyas, but how much Acharyas?
70.
Till now,
9.
Till now we have seen 59 Acharyas.
51.
59 Acharyas. Sri Bhagavan Nama Bodhendra. Up till Bhagavan Nama Bodhendra we have seen. So we'll see the next Acharya. Before going to see the next Acharya, we'll start with the prayer. Okay?
Okay.
Om Shuklam Varadaram Vishnum Chadurbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vigno Bashantaye Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Guruve Sarva Lokanam Vishaje Bhavaroginam Nidhiye Sarva Vidyanam Dakshina Murtaye Namaha தென்னாடுடைய பெரியவா போற்றி எந்நாட்டவர்க்கும் இறைவா போற்றி சர்வஜ்ஞா சர்வவியாபி பெரியவா சரணம் மாய பிறப்பர்க்கும் மகா பெரியவாடி போற்றி. Okay, now we have seen last session we have seen Bodhendra, Bhagavan Nama Bodhendra Swamigal. After that is he of the Kamakoti Peetham. Now it's 60th Acharya. 60th Acharya's name is Advaitatma Prakashendra Saraswati Swamigal. That is 60th Acharya. And 61st Acharya, his name is Mahadev.
Oh, I feel it's done. She has having headache.
Sri Mahadevendra Saraswati. Sri Mahadevendra Saraswati Swami, she is a very big yogi. He remained as a very big yogi. And 62nd Acharya. 62nd Acharya is again Sri Chandrasekharendra Saraswati Swami. And during his 62nd Acharya's period, what happened is the Kanchi was involved in a Carnatic war. There was a war in Kanchi. There was a war going on and there was no peace. So what happened is the Swamigal, that is Kanchi Kamakoti Acharya Swamigal, that is Chandrasekharendra Saraswati Swamigal, he traveled from Kanchi to down south. Carried with him, because of the war, what will happen is they used to destroy all this idol, Bhagavan's idol, God, goddess's idol. So what happened? He carried the golden image, that is the golden Kamakshi. That's called Bangaru Kamakshi. He carried the Bangaru Kamakshi with him and it was carried away. It was carried away to first Udayar Palyam. There is a Jamindar. There is a Zamindar in Udayar Palyam. There's a king. Matlab king in Udayar Palyam. And then it was then transferred to Tanjavur. Now it is in Tanjavur. Bangaru Kamakshi Amman. It's full of gold. The Kamakshi Amman is full of gold. She herself is gold and she is also made up of gold. So Acharya went to Udayar Palyam and then to Kumbakonam. There is 62nd Acharya. This Acharya is 62nd Acharya of Kamakoti Peetham. He went to Kumbakonam and he attained Mukti. That is, he attained Siddhi in Kumbakonam only. Next comes, that is 63rd Acharya. He is Mahadevendra Saraswati again. Mahadevendra Saraswati. I have already told you that the names will be repeated. the Parama Guru's name will be kept in the next Guru's name. That's how it's getting repeated. Next is again Sri Chandrasekharendra Saraswati Swami. So this 64th Acharya, the 64th Acharya, he belonged to the family of Govinda Dikshatar, a minister of Tanjavur. Tanjavur is ruled by king at that time, and there was a minister, and Govinda Dikshatar is the minister, and he belongs to that family of Tanjavur. So who is lovingly called as Ayyan. Most of you, you know, your parents, if you are hailing from Kumbakonam, they know that there is an Ayyan Teru there, Ayyan. So he is called as Ayyan. Then he he did the Tadanga Pradishtai for ear ornaments, that is earrings for Akilandeshwari Kovil in Tiruvengadu, Akilandeshwari Kovil. And there is, in the year of goddess, you know, of Akilandeshwari, there are two earrings called Sri Chakra and Shiva Chakra. That is, those are the earrings. So he did that. And then the 65th Acharya is called Sudarsana Mahadevendra Saraswati. So he attained Mukti, he attained Siddhi in Elayatangudi, another village called Elayatangudi, and he attained Siddhi there. Sudarsana Mahadevendra Saraswati Swami. He is 65th Acharya is called Chandrasekharendra Saraswati. He also attained Mukti in Kalavai. We will come to know about the 66th Acharya when we will be, you know, talk about our Acharya, that is Paramacharya here. We'll be talking about the 66th Acharya also, Chandrasekharendra Saraswati Swami. His name is also Chandrasekharendra Saraswati. He attained Mukti in Kalavai. And then 67th Acharya is Mahadevendra Saraswati Swami. That is, he also attained Siddhi at Kalavai only. Now, we are going to speak about our hero, like Chandrasekharendra Saraswati Swami, our Mahaperiva. We are going to talk about him. So, but I will bring you the glimpse from the life story or the history of our Paramacharya. See, this is Paramacharya. You can see here, you know, grazing us. He's seeing us all, okay? So I am going to tell the life history of Paramacharya now. He is called as a Mahaperiyava. Mahaperiyava means the great one, Paramacharya to his devotees. See, we all call him as Paramacharya because he is also referred to Nadamadum Devam, that is walking God. Okay, the name Mahaperiyava was given, you know, was to differentiate from other acharyas. That's why we call him as Mahaperiva of Kanchi Kamakoti Matta. So this Mahaperiva, he was born on 20th May 1894. 20th May, he was born at Viluppuram. At Viluppuram as Swaminathan. His Purvashram name, that is before attaining sannyasam, his name is Swaminathan. To his parents, Mahalakshmi Ammal and Subramanya Iyer, Subramanya Sastri. Okay, his parents' name is Mahalakshmi Ammal and Subramanya Sastri. So he was the second child. He was the second child of his parents. He had an elder brother called Ganapati, elder brother, and 3 younger brothers, and a younger sister called Lalitambal. One of his brothers is called Sivan Sir. Maybe you might have heard about Sivan Sir, Sadasivan. His name is Sadasivan. And another one's name is Sambamurthy Sastrihal. Another one name is, younger brother's name is Krishnamurthy Sastrihal. So his father was, at that time, he was employed as a supervisor of schools, the education department. He was working as a supervisor in the education department and was serving at Viluppuram. That is, Viluppuram is a Tamil Nadu, today's Tamil Nadu, okay? When Swaminathan was born. I will be addressing as Swaminathan only here, okay? He was called as Swaminathan then, isn't it? So Swaminathan was a very, very bright boy with, with remarkable grasp of anything that was taught anything that was taught. He was so intelligent. And his father decided to educate him at home till his 8th year. He has decided in 1905, that is 1905, the family had to move to another city called Dindivanam. That is also in Tamil Nadu. So they have to move to that place. When he was where he was admitted to the second form. They say second form, the 7th grade. 7th grade, they call it as second form. Okay, at the Orchard American Missionary School at Dindivanam. He was enrolled in 7th grade there. So Swaminathan, he displayed remarkable intelligence. He stood first in all the subjects, and got prizes in all the subjects, and got prizes in all this, including he was very proficient in reciting Holy Bible. He also recited Holy Bible, the whole Bible, and he was very, very proficient in that. So in 1906, what happened? The school was staging. This is all the incidents. See, I will tell you all the interesting incidents that happened in his life. Okay, Swaminathan's life, that is Paramacharya's life. Okay, before he became sannyasi. So what happened is in 1906, the school was staging Shakespeare's drama, Shakespeare's King John drama, and Swaminathan was selected. At the last moment to take the role of Prince Arthur. At the last moment, he was selected. Earlier, his teacher thought him that he was very young. He was very young to take the role. But the headmaster means principal. The principal, he wanted him to act in that, take the role and play, take the role. And because he had to, and what happened is he had to get costumes for that. Because he has to act as a King Arthur, Prince Arthur, isn't it? So he had to get special costumes for the drama, that is the play, for the play. And though initially, his father was reluctant because, because of his financial condition and all, so he could not refuse. But he could not refuse young Swaminathan's wish, isn't it? So within 2 days, what happened? Swaminathan learnt all the dialogues by heart. So he learnt all the dialogues within 2 days. And needless to say, his performance was stellar. His performance was stellar. Like he did very good. He was very impressive, and he won accolades for the same, for this play. So what happened is later that year, and one day what happened, another interesting incident happened in his life is, what happened is he called one astrologer to see the horoscope of Swaminathan. In those days, they will see the horoscope, he called one astrologer and he was checking. When that astrologer came to his house and he saw Swaminathan, he told just to Swaminathan to wash his feet and come, because he was playing somewhere and he was coming, and he asked him to wash his feet and come. Touched his feet, Swaminathan's feet, and saw his feet. He could say that once, one day he will become so, popular, and he will become the king of the world, like that. He'll become, so he's going to be, he's the topmost of everybody. But his father thought that, okay, he may become a governor or viceroy or, even a collector. Like that he may come. But, now we are talking about Paramacharya, that much of, because he's God himself. So that astrologer, he knew already that he is going to come like this. So later what happened? Later that year, this Swaminathan's father, Subramanya Shastri, he visited Kalavai. Kalavai, the 66th Acharya. 66th Acharya, who is the 66th Acharya, is Chandrasekharendra Saraswati Swami. He was staying at Kalavai. So he wanted to visit the Acharya and get his blessing. So he went along with his family. He went, but not in Kalavai, Perumukkal. There is a village called Perumukkal, and he was staying. The 66th Acharya was staying at Perumukkal. They went with the family. The Subramanya Sastri, he went along with Swaminathan and other children to get the blessings of the previous Acharya. The Acharya, what happened? He gazed, Swaminathan and made a detailed inquiry about, Swaminathan and his family and all. So it seemed like that Acharya had decided in his mind, to select Swaminathan, to succeed him as the next Acharya of the Kanchi Kamakoti Peetham. So even announced, he announced to the people present there in the madam there. And then what he told that Swaminathan would be the great person in future. Great person in future. His parents, thought that, okay, it was a general blessing, given by Acharya. Acharya used to bless everybody. So he thought that it's a general blessing given to him and given to them, and felt very, very happy. And they did not know that, this young one would leave the family permanently. They don't know. So they thought that it's only a blessing, and they were all happy. In February, 1907, okay, the family received a telegram. The family, they were in Dindivaram, isn't it? So they received a telegram from the Kanchi Kamakoti Madam addressed to Subramanya Sastri to bring Swaminathan to Kalavai, a place near Kanchipuram. Kalavai is a place near Kanchipuram. So where the 66th Acharya was now, camping there. He was camping there. So since this Subramanya Sastri was an official tour to Trichy, there is another place called Trichy, and he was on his official tour to Trichy. So what happened? The neighbors there, they arranged, for Swaminathan to go with his mother and other siblings there, to go with his Mahalakshmi Ammal is his mother, isn't it? By train to Kanchipuram. And then they went to Kanchimat and then to, Sarvatirtha Karai. There was a river called, there's a pond called Sarvatirtham. And they were there, staying there after coming from Kanchipuram. What happened? And a horse cart came there. It has been arranged, it had been arranged. The horse cart had been arranged to take Swaminathan alone to Kalavai. And, much to the surprise of his mother and, siblings, he was taken alone. So Swaminathan was taken alone. They were asked to come, they were asked to come in another vehicle. Swaminathan was barely, he was only 13 years old at that time. He was only 13 years then. Okay, while he was wondering why he was, being taken alone, the person who had come to take him slowly revealed that he would never go back to his family. Okay, he asked the 66th Acharya has passed away. So at that point, Swaminathan, he only told, Rama, 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 Rama. He was only 13 years old. See, those were the days where this all this telecommunication was at a primitive stage. And so one had to depend only on the postal services. So for telegrams, like they used to give a one-line telegram. Okay. So telegrams and telephones, and the telephones in houses were all unheard. Okay, unheard. So while the telegram was being sent to bring Swaminathan, the 66th Acharya was suffering from smallpox. Smallpox is a disease, okay, and wanted to appoint Swaminathan as his successor. But in the final moments, what happened is, since Swaminathan has not arrived, so he had initiated the cousin of Swaminathan. There was the cousin of Swaminathan by name Lakshmi Kantan, okay, as his successor. So Lakshmi Kantan was none other than Swaminathan's, Perima's son, like, his sister, I mean, his mother's elder sister's son. Lakshmi Kantan is his cousin. So Lakshmi Kantan was at that time 18 years old. He was 18 years old and was, well versed in Rig Veda.
Is it 80 or is it 18?
18 years old. And he was well versed in Rig Veda. Okay, Rig Vedam. And unfortunately, Lakshmi Kantan had also, contracted smallpox because he was serving his guru. Lakshmi Kantan was serving his guru, Acharya, 66th Acharya. Now this Lakshmi Kantan becomes 67th Acharya, named Mahadevendra Saraswati, and lived only for 8 days because he had contracted smallpox from his guru. So, however, what happened is, before passing away, he had approved, of Swaminathan as his successor to the Kanchi Kamakoti Peetham. So the unexpected turn of events, it all happened, all of a sudden everything has happened. So the unexpected turn of events was indeed a great shock for the little Swaminathan also, and for the parents also. The parents were deeply worried because they were also told, like Swaminathan was, he is going to become a sannyasi. But the parents was deeply worried on the life of, because they know that the life of the sannyasis, it requires a highest level of, discipline, meditation, and complete disconnect with the family members. So the very thought of giving up a child to live a monastic life was unable to them. It was unbearable to them. As a parent, you can't think of, sending a child as a sannyasi to live a monastic life. So it becomes unbearable for them. So, but however, Swaminathan, what happened is he regained his composure very quickly, and because he's a God, he's an avataram of God. So he regained his composure very quickly and was reconciled to the, reality, and told them, why are you hesitant? Why are you hesitant? See, I feel I have a complete blessing of all the Purva Acharyas. So please permit me wholeheartedly to become a sannyasi and fulfill my duties. Okay? So to become a sannyasi. So the parents had no other choice or option but to let him go. So he has not seen his parents, and parents have not seen him afterwards. So Swaminathan was then anointed, as the 68th Acharya of the Kamakoti Peetham. So at the age of 13. So he was given the title of Jagadguru Chandrasekharendra Saraswati Swamihai. He was lovingly called as Mahaperiva. So now we will not say, Swaminathan. Now I'm not going to call him as Swaminathan. Now onwards I'll take Mahaperiva. Okay? Now Mahaperiva. So what happened is, during 18th century, that is 62nd Acharya. We talked about 62nd Acharya, Chandrasekharendra Saraswati. 62nd Acharya is Chandrasekharendra Saraswati, I think. And the 62nd Acharya, during his 62nd Acharya's period, the administrative headquarters of Kanchi Kamakoti Peetham, he was transferred to Kumbakonam, because I told you that he went to Kumbakonam, isn't it? So it was shifted to Kumbakonam at that time. So due to all the political turmoil and and continued to function from there, from Kumbakonam. Even though it's a Kanchi Mutt, it was functioning from Kumbakonam. So hence Mahaperiva went. Now Mahaperiva went and stayed at Kumbakonam from 1908 and stayed to learn the Vedas, because he was only studying 7th grade, isn't it? He was studying only at Arcad American English School, and he was learning all those things, but he never learned Vedas. So he has to learn Vedas. So from 1908, he learned the Vedas, Sanskrit scriptures and fine arts under the guidance of very, very learned scholars. They are called Mahamahobadhyaya, learned scholars. He was learning from them. Okay. So, however, then he became a Bala Sannyasi. At that time, he was only 13 years old, 13, 14 years old. So, everyone will be interested in seeing a Bala Sannyasi. Bala Sannyasi means small boy becoming Sannyasi. So, that will be a constant, stream of visitors to the Mutt, continuously coming. So this was causing a great disturbance to his studies, because he has to give tirtham, he has to give prasadam and everything. He has to ask for their welfare and all this. Right? So the continuous visit, what happened is it caused a disturbance. And therefore, what happened is this Mutt officials identified a beautiful village called Mahendra Mangalam. There was a village called Mahendra Mangalam on the banks of river Kaveri River. The village was accessible only by, ferry. And so many people would not come there. Isn't it? They have to take a ferry and, they have to cross the river and come. So many people would not come there. So in 1911, what happened is Mahaperiva moved to Mahendra Mangalam and continued his studies. He learned, he learned Sanskrit grammar, logic, Vedanta, epics, then history of holy places, archaeology, world history, mathematics, astronomy, astrology, and in addition to it is English, French, and he's very, very fond of Tamil grammar and literature. So he was very deeply interested in, Tamil classics like Tirukkural, Devaram, Thiruvalchagam, and even a Marathi scholar was brought. He was very, very interested in learning Marathi books. So Marathi books, so they some Marathi scholar was specially brought in from Maharashtra. As Mahaperiva was interested in reading this Marathi books. He learned everything. He knows everything. When you see the experiences of Mahaperiva, you're also young. You're all now children, you're all young kids. When you grow, when you want to know about Mahaperiva, you can, hear the experiences. If you hear the experiences of Mahaperiva, even if there is a chance, I can also tell some experiences, little bit about him. Like he knows everything in all aspects, in all, everything. He's a complete encyclopedia. When you talk about math, he'll talk about math. When you talk about French, he'll talk about French. When you talk about astrology, he knows that. When somebody talks about, Greek philosophy, he knows that. He knows all the world, all the planets. Since he is a God, he's all, beyond us. We can't even think. You can't even bring him put him in a jar. He's beyond that. See, so what happened is while at Mahendra Mangalam, he used to go in the middle of the Kaveri River. He is, very, very interested in swimming. He's very interested in swimming. He used to swim, and he used to go into the middle of the Kaveri River and, where there were sand dunes and everything. He used to go there, swim well, and he enjoyed the scenic beauty. He, he's attracted in photography also. Photography, he knows all the intricacies of the camera. He knows all the, even Sivan Sir, you can see Sivan Sir, Sivan Sir is a photographer, and he's also a very seer. He's also a Mahan, like he's a brother, younger brother of Mahapariva. So he knows all the nuances of photography. So he knows everything. So what happened is, in 1914, a period of 6 years, Mahapariva was well versed in a whole range of subjects and languages. At the age of 21, he took the whole responsibility of the Kanchi Kamakoti Mata. Because before 21 years of age, he was only a minor. So when he became 21, he took the responsibility of the Kanchi Kamakoti Mata. So his only goal was welfare of the mankind. Okay, he strove towards that through his thoughts, deeds, everything. He had taken many initiatives, keeping the welfare of all of us in mind. Even from the restoration of a small pond and digging of wells, providing medical aid for the poor, encouraging students and scholars in the field of studies, then providing food for the needy, to restoring the cultural heritage. So even emphasis was given, from Go Rakshana. Go Rakshana means, Go means cow, protection of cow, and the Vedas. That is the backbone, of the Indian culture years ago, ages ago. Yeah, So Mahapariva, and also he toured. You have heard stories of Adi Shankara. You have all heard stories of Adi Shankara, how Adi Shankara was. Like that, Mahapariva also, he toured the length and breadth of India by foot, meeting many people. He never cared for his comfort. He never cared for his comfort. He was always, he always liked, meeting visitors, and he always take care, utmost care of the visitors. With his frail body, you can see how his body is, He's not like a body-built, muzzled person. He has got only a frail body. So with this frail body, he used to walk from place to place, such a fast pace that nobody can beat, that would stun his followers, wow, like that. He never cared for his comfort. He always, when you see the photograph of Mahapariva, he used to sleep in a cow shed, somewhere in the, in the field. He never used to take care of his body, take care of himself. But, he's the avataram to take care of our needs, like.
Excuse me?
Yeah?
The picture of Mahapariva is right behind you.
Yeah. Yeah, he's Mahapariva. Yeah. So, now what happened? His daily schedule is included, long hours of meditation, long hours of worship, long hours of meditation, meeting visitors far and near. Not only the local visitors would come and visit him, from foreign countries, people from foreign countries, people from other countries also come and visit him. So many kings, so many governors, presidents, so many people will come and visit him. Because he's a God. They all know that, they all realize that, when he's in his presence, they all realize that he's God. So in the presence of God, we all feel happy, peaceful, isn't it? That's why they all come. And he ate only minimal food. You can see the one urupidi, like we say, isn't it? like this much of food. Food in the sense that he will take only puri, puffed rice, puffed rice. That's all he will take. So his complete control of senses, coupled with his real concern for the well-being of the world, seems to give him enormous strength. I think both physically and, mentally, to undergo such an arduous journeys. He is moving away from place to place, visiting people, he's inquiring so many people, and everybody says that, no, I know Periva. Periva is for me. See, if you ask me, then I will say that Periva is for me only. Like that, lakhs and, crores of people, lots of people, they will say that Periva is only for me. That's how. Then how Periva has touched the hearts of everybody. So he was an avid reader also. He was an voracious reader and would always keep himself, abreast of all the happenings in India and the world. So he knows well. When you talk about cricket, he will talk. When you talk about Vedantas also, he will talk. So when you want to talk with a kid, he will talk. The kid will like him. The old people will like him. The farmers will like him. The peasants will like him. The kings will like him. President will like him. Politics, he will talk. So everybody, everything he knows. So Mahaperiva, and also one of the very interesting things is that Mahaperiva, he respected all the religions, that believed in the existence of God. So that was the reason why, scholars from all religions found themselves, very comfortable in his presence and would come and, discuss with him about the religions of the world. So he was always of the opinion that one should stick on to his own religion, one's religion at birth, and continue to practice, and then practice their worship of their gods. So you don't have to change the religion. That is his advice. So he was equally well versed in all the matters of the state and Vedanta. So, which drew many political leaders and royal families from India and abroad to him. So everybody would have been attracted towards Mahaperiva, and they come to take his blessings. So, and he was and then artist. I have talked about all these things, no? Artist and artisans, for all the fine arts, including sculpting. Sculptings used to go and, present their work to him, to which he would meaningfully interact, give valuable inputs. All the deities, all the goddess and goddesses, you are seeing in the temple, very, very big temples you are seeing. All, those sculptures are done by sculptors, and they have all shown to this, their sculptures to Mahaperiva. And he has given all the valuable inputs to them. And, he's the avatar of Adi Shankara. We all know that he's an avatar of Adi Shankara, who is the incarnation of Parameshwara. When we talk about Adi Shankara, we talk that he was, the avatar of Parameshwara himself. So he is like the Parameshwara. And there are a lot of incidents, connected to him, which shows his greatness and humility. And, Mahaperiva lived, a whole 100 years, before he attained Siddhi on January 8th, 1994. His physical body is, his physical body is interred in a place, inside the Kanchi Madam itself. Okay, it's inside the Kanchi Mat itself. Okay, he lives forever in the hearts of all of us. Even though he has attained Siddhi, he lives in the hearts of all of us, and his divine presence, and this divine presence is evident even today, even this day, as experienced by the devotees. You can see the devotees' experiences, and they say that, you know, personally, even personally, you know, Mahapariva is all to me, and my family. You know, even I have experiences even today I have the experience. You know, till now, you know, half an hour before, I couldn't speak. I was not able to speak because of some problem. I couldn't able to speak. I thought, Mahapariva, how am I going to speak? But I know that Pariva will let me speak to you all, because, you know, it's Pariva's grace. So throughout his life, the focus of his concern, you know, and the activities was regenerating the Veda Adhyayana and the Dharma Shastrams, the age-old traditions, which has, you know, suffered the decline. So his time as Pidadipati is considered as a golden era. So every one of us, you know, should know Mahapariva, you know, should know at least a slogam to Mahapariva, and you should also, you know, hear everything from your parents. You know, hear everything about Mahapariva from your parents, and, you know, if you sincerely pray to him, you know, definitely he will come in your dream, or you can see the presence. Even as a kid, you can see. You know, even though if you have not met Mahapariva personally, you can definitely see him. That's my experience, my family's experience. If I have time, then I can share the experience also later on. So this is Chandrasekharendra Saraswati Swami Hal's, you know, that is 68th Acharya. I think it's 11:45, I think. Can I continue to say this Jayendra Saraswati Swami Hal and Vijayendra Saraswati Swami Hal?
Next week next 15 minutes avalaku slogathukku kudunga. Okay. So next week we will continue. Okay.
I'll conclude today's session with
Ram Ram.
And then
Ram Ram.
We can continue next session. Okay.
Ram Ram. Ram Ram. Bye. No. Ram Ram.
Ram Ram.
Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamedachyate.
Bye. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you all. Thank you. We'll meet tomorrow.
Ram Ram. Thank you.